You're listening to DraftKings Network.
George Clooney and Brad Pitt's new movie, Wolves, is on Apple TV Plus September 27th.
That's where I want you to be now.
So if you want to see George Clooney and Brad Pitt, go to Apple TV Plus.
You got to start the story there.
Or if you want to see Brad Pitt and George Clooney, go to Apple TV Plus.
I am enjoying the show.
And if you want to see their new movie, Wolves,
You can't do it, I'm going to help you out. I can do it, so do it.
definitely go to Apple TV Plus.
Admit it is cool. Okay, fine, it was very cool.
Wolves, streaming September 27th on Apple TV Plus. Rated R.
Now's a good time to remember where the story of tequila started. In 1795, the first tequila distillery was opened by the Cuervo family. And 229 years later, Cuervo is still going strong. Family owned from the start, same family, same land. Now's a good time to enjoy Cuervo, the tequila that invented tequila. Go to Cuervo.com to shop tequila or visit a store near you. Cuervo, now's a good time. Trademarks owned by Becle, SAB the CV. Copyright 2024. Proximo. Jersey City, New Jersey. Please drink responsibly.
Shadow Show.
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 Shadowing it.
Two delightful surprises for you today, Stugotz, and the audience. It is the rare Greg Cote Monday.
Yeah. Wow.
Right?
Wow.
That's very. Are you as excited about it as we are? Greg Cote is not usually here on Mondays. We got plenty to talk about on Mondays. No one's talked for a couple of days about sports at microphones.
He almost accidentally called the police on his iPhone. I saw that. You know when you press like all the buttons at the same time and there's like a beacon that's sent to the authorities? I saw that happening as you were asking his first question.
I was confused if you meant like he almost called the police on his iPhone, like from his iPhone, or if he like almost reported his iPhone to the police for doing something to him.
Well, I was scrambling to turn off my phone because heaven forbid that it would ding or ping while on the air.
Right. Yeah. If only there were ways to control that from happening before.
This is one of the things that's happening here is that he doesn't know how to turn it down, and several times I've had to just turn it off for him. Like, just turn it off because I'll turn it down, and then he'll turn it back up because he doesn't like it turned down.
Yeah. There was the time where you just threw it. I mean,
I tossed it.
And I understand. I mean,
I tossed it to a couch. It wasn't hurled like into the ocean.
Yeah, it
though.
was a little violent.
Soft landing.
The other delightful surprise, Lucy, who has become a genuine football star. Lucy has parachuted in to grace us with all of her college football knowledge. And I believe because the professional football was so shitty yesterday, I believe we should start with college football.
Wow.
This is the best day of my life.
Huh.
She had a giant breakfast in Madison. She conquered Madison. Madison has rarely looked as fun as Lucy made it look.
Not true. Madison is widely considered the best college town in America, and hate to say it, can confirm. Wow. It's awesome.
Wow.
I think Playboy once voted it the best best college party town in America, but I have rarely seen that kind of fun the way that you were illustrating that kind of fun over the weekend. You brought us Madison in a way that was colorful. Greg, did you see any of it, or did you stop listening the moment we stopped talking about you?
I did not see anything from Madison. No, I apologize.
Did you stop listening, though?
No.
I mean, you went to your phone. You were doing something. You were not interested in what Lucy was saying.
I certainly was.
Did you even know I was gone, Greg?
I knew you haven't been in here a while.
I don't believe you.
Welcome back.
Jack.
She's been joining us from her father's basement, and so it's nice to have her here. And Billy had a restful Sunday in which he is advocating for more people to feel the genuine peace of not having your team playing on Sunday.
Huh.
It's nice to have a bye week early in the year. Now, I'm granted the circumstances after that Thursday night game, not ideal, but not feeling like I had to sit there and watch the Dolphins, and have the emotional highs and lows of a game ruin my Sunday. Incredible feeling. Even though the Thursday loss kind of made the weekend not feel great. When you hear CJ Beathard might be your quarterback, not good. Not good.
Bad.
Not a good Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
I love CJ.
No.
The only good quarterback, semi-good quarterback to come out of Iowa ever.
A defiant Ian Rappaport reporting that a defiant Tua will not retire is not how you want to spend your weekend, that he's going to consult neurologists and he will not retire after. And this I have not seen before. Tell me if any of you guys have seen this. It's one thing to have a bunch of retired players tell Tua he should retire. An active NFL coach, Antonio Pierce, saying
awful.
From the other side of the country that Tua needs to retire. Tell me you've seen that happen before.
I never have, but I mean, Antonio Pierce, it's coming from a good source. I mean, that guy had a big win yesterday. He knows what he's doing. He knows what he's talking about. I would trust him.
Because he won?
Yeah, beat Baltimore.
Okay. Yeah, Baltimore. How about that? It's a bloodbath for my picks this year.
Oh.
I mean, what a week 2 was awful.
Let's go ahead and start the show.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz podcast.
Today's episode is sponsored by DraftKings. Stay tuned because you'll hear more about DraftKings and all it has to offer throughout the show. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
We will descend into the fun and frolic of football in just a moment, Stugotz. But this week, we are doing a couple of things here that are different for us. Tomorrow, we are doing a voter registration day to make sure, nonpartisan, that people register to vote and understand what's at stake over the next couple of months, because I really don't want it to feel any kind of normal or to skip past multiple assassination attempts on a former president, the most recent one here yesterday locally. I don't want to make that seem any kind of normal, or a Monday after it seem any kind of normal, when I fear that we're going to descend over the next couple of months into more and more chaos on this front, because given that a whole bunch of people have been fomented on hatred, and you can't always get them to march in exactly the direction you want, and you can't get amateur assassins to behave sanely or how you think about things, I really never know when there's something like an assassination attempt. Is that someone trying to kill Trump because they hate Trump, or to cause the chaos that would then result in America by killing someone like Trump? I don't pretend to know or think I know how someone who would risk their freedom by killing a person thinks, but I simply don't want to just skip past it as we spend our Mondays and this week frolicking. And we're going to do something tomorrow and over the next 2 months so that people just become active and exert whatever power they have over a situation that can feel helpless and hopeless when you're talking about something that I have not seen in my lifetime, and I don't think we've seen very much in the history of politics or power. Multiple assassination attempts, thwarted one better than the other, but the chaos that would have descended after that, I don't just want to skip past it. And I also don't know how to transition into football after it, because I don't know how you guys receive the news, and I don't want to become numb to the news just because this country is numb to gun violence, that we're talking about an AK-47 on a golf course, and we're talking about West Palm Beach, and we're talking about things that we've never seen before as tensions are going to continue to escalate because the divisions continue to escalate.
Yeah, I wish this is a whole different subject, but I wish we as a country would simply ban assault weapons to begin with. They're weapons of war, and I don't think they have any business. I'm pro Second Amendment. You should be allowed to have a hunting rifle. You should be allowed to have a gun for your personal safety. But an AK-47 or AR-15, whatever they're called, just heinous weapons that have no place in America. I agree with you. Bipartisan, no matter who you support, it's just dispiriting to see something like this. And it's dispiriting, frankly, when Donald Trump puts in all capital letters on social media, "I hate Taylor Swift," with about 5 exclamation points, because that is enlisting the lunatics on his side to maybe do harm to her. There's no business for any of this in American politics or American life. It's just awful, no matter which side of the aisle it comes from.
So to be clear, tomorrow we are encouraging people to just go vote. Vote for whoever you want to vote for, but it's important that you go out there and vote. And we're not talking about the Pro Bowl here, right? We're talking, okay, serious stuff? Serious votes? Okay.
Yes.
Because the Pro Bowl, I am tired of guys getting into the Pro Bowl who have no right being in the Pro Bowl. I'm tired of guys passing down invitations to play in such a big game, such a big event. Remember when the Pro Bowl meant something?
Thank you for the transition,
You got it.
Stugotz. Appreciate it. God bless football. We'll be out shortly. Stugotz has given you his fiery takes. I don't actually want to talk very much to start about professional football, although I will co-sign what Mike was saying last week about how offense is going down. You have the Steelers, Stugotz. I think they're the best symbol for what's happening in this sport right now. They are 2-0 on the road with their backup quarterback, and they've scored 1 touchdown.
Yeah.
Splash.
Yeah. He's a good coach. I mean,
it's not splash. It's Chinese water torture.
Huh.
It's not splash.
It's 2-0.
It is 2-0. Yes, it's 2-0. But what it means about the sport that we enjoy is that there are 2 teams worse at that than them. They went on the road and won with their backup quarterback. They've scored 1 touchdown. Have they scored 30 points this season?
They have 31. Yeah. I'm not certain Justin Fields is the backup quarterback anymore. I think he might be the starter moving forward. He's 2-0.
All right.
I mean, he's not turning the ball over. I mean,
the Commanders yesterday winning with 7 field goals.
Yeah.
Like what? I don't want to watch that. It's not.
Brutal.
They've got a very exciting quarterback. I don't want to watch 7 field goals. But what I do want to talk about, though, Stugotz, is the state of the state in college football, because Florida and FSU being this bad, since being 13-0, FSU has lost by a combined score of 135-49, 4 games. They've lost. They're the first top 10 team, preseason ranked, to lose to 3 straight unranked opponents. So they lose to Georgia 63-3 in the last game of last year, and then it's 24-21, 28-13, 20-12. And they're staggeringly bad, and they're not the worst team in the state. They're 0-3. I think they'd be favored against Florida. I think they'd be favored.
I do too.
I don't think people would be even allowed to bet on that game. They'd say, please don't do that.
Right.
Look out for yourselves.
We care about your money.
Spend time with
What's
your
the
family.
point?
Don't touch Florida State.
All right. So you may think Florida is worse. Their situation feels worse. Their coach is in more trouble. The idea that Napier is being booed while doing an in-stadium don't drive drunk ad. He's being booed at all times and isn't going to last the season because they were down 20-0 against Texas A&M. And Texas A&M does have they do have 3 players on their defensive line that are like top 150 draft picks.
and they found the quarterback this weekend. I mean,
Texas A&M is a really talented team. You know, they even with a new head coach, they recruited really well under Jimbo Fisher. They had the #1 recruiting class. It's not like losing to Texas A&M isn't a terrible thing. I think it's just the combination of you've lost every game. You got blown out against Miami. They did beat Samford, but like it's been a long few years of Billy Napier. And I think what's so frustrating for Florida fans is like, especially last season watching Florida, they are a talented team. They have like decent players. I just don't know if I've ever watched a game and been like, that is like the least disciplined team I've ever seen. Just like constant penalties, like stuff that happens that you're like, you should know better. Like you should just know better. And that stuff I feel like all comes down to coaching and Billy Napier.
I think Florida's issues are easier to correct more quickly. I think it's going to take FSU a couple of years because they've basically ignored the high school ranks and just gone all in on portal. It's going to take a while for that wheel to fully turn. But the crazy thing about FSU being 0-3 is they've lost to teams who aren't playing well against them. I don't think Georgia Tech was especially special against them. Boston College was average or below average in 2 of the 3 phases of the game. That's the worst I've seen Memphis look for a while, and that's the best the FSU D-line looked all season long. They're somehow favored against Cal, who has shown so far this season they're better. As we were having a text exchange, Dan, like FSU has now told us exactly who they are 3 times this season. People should start believing them.
They're the only Power 5 team that's 0-3, correct? Put it on the poll, Juju at Batard show. Who's worse, Florida or Florida State? Because the two best teams in the state are Miami and the University of Central Florida, correct? Like if Central Florida was playing either Florida or FSU, they would be favored, even though they barely won this week.
They play in a few weeks, so we will see if UCF is better than Florida. I think like what is so shocking about Florida and Florida State being bad is these are two teams that have won national championships in the last 20 years, which is a very rare thing in college football. There's so much money, there's so much fan support behind these two programs, and you are in the second best state for recruiting. Like, there is absolutely no reason that it should ever get this bad for these two programs. Like, your floor should be 7 wins. And these two teams, like, Florida State may not win a game this year. That is crazy.
If you can't recruit locally after a perfect regular season and an ACC conference championship, you have big time issues, Dan.
Mike, but just to be clear, you're saying Florida has recruited well and Florida State is mostly going through the transfer, and that's their mistake.
Yeah, I think Florida is more correctable in that if they make the right hire. Now, they haven't made the right hire in quite some time, which is why they keep finding themselves here. But you have the 5-star in Lagway that has impressed.
Yeah.
I know he went up against a really tough opponent, but he seems to be good especially for a true freshman. They have talent. The composite talent is there. Like, if you plug in Lane Kiffin, it may end up in a disaster, but tactically, I think he can overcome some of their issues, which from a composite talent ranking spot, like they're showing on the field worse than they actually are. Whereas FSU, that is a systemic issue that's going to take a little bit.
You mentioned Lane Kiffin. What happened with him this weekend was funny because he's corrected everything. He went from FAU to Mississippi, and he's going to be able to get a better job than that. He made fun of the brown lakes in his city when he was on with us. He is right now doing all of the interviewing that he's going to do for future jobs because he's going to be a very coveted candidate. And what Mike and Lucy are saying is true, Stugotz. It's a bit staggering to see FSU go from 13-0 to this kind of bad this quickly. Like it's not just what Lucy's saying about you've won national championships this century. It's that 4 games ago, we were all yelling and screaming that they deserved, or, we were having the argument before the quarterback got hurt that they deserved to play for the national championship among the 4 best teams in the country. And the other 4 that were in that don't fall at all. Never mind fall like this.
Michigan kind of fell a little bit, but like Florida State and Michigan have both been, victims of the same issue here. Like with just the game from, okay, you didn't make the playoff, now you're playing Georgia. Everybody opted out for Florida State. Like every single player opted out. I think they had 60 opt-outs. Like it was batshit crazy. And then you lose so many players to the draft. They were so portal heavy last year. Sometimes that works out. Sometimes it doesn't, though. Like, you kind of see the same thing happening with Colorado right now, where, like, instead of recruiting, they're just going so heavy on the portal. And I know they beat Colorado State this weekend, but they're not that good of a team. And so you just, in this day and age of college football, the portal is good. It helps. Like, you can really use it to supplement your team, but that's what it has to be. It has to be a supplement. Like, you still need to recruit.
You mentioned Colorado. A lot of people were waiting for them to lose at Colorado State this week. And Deion Sanders has an awful lot of commercials for someone who won 4 games last season.
Well, he had him before that. I mean,
he's gotten a lot. Yeah. It's an unusual situation he finds himself in where he's going to ride Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter as far as they will take him. And you saw what happened. Let's play that sound of Shedeur Sanders on the field, reminding the Colorado State quarterback that he doesn't bleep with him.
I think it's worth noting that Colorado is definitely a shit-talking team. If there's one team in college football that talks more shit than Colorado, weird enough, it's Colorado State. Like, they came out before this game and was like, last year we should have murdered them. Used the term murder, which was kind of crazy. And we're like, Instagram likes, Instagram views don't get you wins. No, it doesn't, but they were just better than you. So, this is kind of a game where both of these schools have talked so much shit. And it's weird because it's like, what? Colorado State, why are you doing that? Yeah. Like, there's no reason for you to be doing that.
You haven't been any good since Sonny Lubick was the coach.
Like Colorado has been good.
They're in the Pac-12 for 5 minutes, and they're like, we're letting everybody know.
Sonny Lubick.
Yeah. Great poll right there.
A lot of people were holding this up against Shedeur Sanders. I thought last week what he did post-game was way worse than this. This Colorado State quarterback was indeed talking shit.
He deserved it.
On Instagram. He deserved it the way that Shedeur deserved it the previous week by going to the coin toss telling Nebraska players, we're going to roll you.
Stugotz here. The most important things in my life are my wife, my children, and of course, their safety. That's why I've had Simply Safe Home Security in my house for 7 years now. I want you to have the same peace of mind that I and so many listeners experience every day, which is why I partnered with Simply Safe to offer listeners 50% off a system. Just visit simplysafe.com/DLB to claim it. Whether it's setting the alarms before we all go to bed or setting that alarm before we go on another vacation, Simply Safe gives me amazing peace of mind. Simply Safe provides faster response for better protection with Fast Protect monitoring and Live Guard protection. Protect your home with Simply Safe right now. Batard Show listeners can get 50% off any new Simply Safe system, plus a free indoor security camera with Fast Protect monitoring. Just visit simplysafe.com/DLB to claim this offer. It's for a limited time only, so be sure to order today. That's simplysafe.com/DLB. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
Don Le Batard.
He seems like a not nice guy, and he's always been a not nice guy. I don't care for him, and I hope he has the day he deserves.
Stugotz.
I hope he has the day he deserves.
That's how I get people when they're really mean to me. I'm not like, go F yourself. I'm like, I hope you have the day you deserve.
It's a
I think
great
it's
kind.
So much
it's a
like,
great kind
twists the
insult.
knife.
Yes.
It's beautiful.
It's leaving it to the cosmos to sort it out.
That's a less Southern, bless your heart.
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz.
Billy, how did you feel about how Mike came in dressed today? Because there's one local team that we have not talked about that now represents football hope for this city above all others, because Cam Ward goes, 5 touchdowns, 345 yards. They broke all sorts of records, school record for yards. And I know it's Ball State, but points through 3 games. They clearly got a quarterback. And Mike Ryan's wearing a UM hat that's autographed by a bunch of different people. I don't know who it was autographed by.
Not a single autograph.
Yeah, that's just a
marble
pattern.
Design.
Yeah, just
looks like a
pattern.
floor,
right.
like a
No autographs.
tile.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would not wear a hat that is autographed.
Where did you think the autographs were?
Same.
Like this?
All over the place.
Like
From here, they looked. It doesn't look like autographs to you.
Looks like
I
smudges.
thought it was handwriting and smudges all over your hat.
No, it's
It's
a
like marble.
kitchen counter.
Yeah, know your hats.
Okay,
dirty
my
hat.
bad. Regardless, he's wearing a lot of UM gear and the gold chain on the outside, which suggests that the swagger for UM is back. How did you feel, Billy, when you saw Mike walk in? He's feeling good about his football team.
It's fine. I mean, he can feel happy about his team. He wears the gold chain outside sometimes. I don't think it's specific to. I feel like this is like an appropriate level of pride in the team that he represents, right? Like, he's not being over the top. We were recording God Bless Football, so I don't know if he, came in and had like some sort of spectacle when he walked in, or was like
walked in like
or,
Ric Flair. Yeah,
really?
walked in.
With
Yeah,
some confidence.
Did you
some
have like
swagger.
the
he's got a
whatever it's called,
quarterback.
the overcoat
He's
or
got a
whatever?
team.
this part is obvious,
Robe,
is it
there you
not?
go.
He does have a team,
Yeah.
and he's obviously got a quarterback.
Yeah, but let's look at the next 5 games. At Cal versus Louisville, they can't play these next 5 games unscathed.
It's been easy going so far.
Yeah, it's been very easy going.
And the schedule is not the toughest. Like, this could be a good season for UM.
Right, but
They're in the ACC. I mean, come on.
I know, but again, the next 5 games are a challenge. I think South Florida's not bad. They're 2-1. Their only losses to Alabama. It's a night game on the road. I think that's a tough.
I'm not saying Mario Cristobal can't lose one of these games or lose to Louisville. I'm saying that the reason for hope is real, because it is unusual to see a college quarterback playing that obviously unhurried, like very relaxed, footwork very relaxed in a way. It's not normal to have a quarterback who's only played 3 games for your team look like somebody who's got. You're not inventing that. He's clearly got a handle on the situation.
But it was Ball State, Florida A&M, and a bad Florida team so far.
Right.
Okay, agreed.
So, like, that affects the way that it looks.
Pass rush. Look, Texas A&M's pass rush is a different thing. So, yes, of course, it does affect how things look. But he was also running 20 yards backward and not worried about the fact that he was running 20 yards backwards.
Sonny Lubick has a steakhouse named after him.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's the dream, right?
It's called the Sonny Lubick Steakhouse.
Put it on the poll. Is the dream to have a steakhouse named after you at Le Batard Show?
So Mike Ryan texted me this weekend, and I believe you said that Miami's win against Ball State was the largest margin of victory in FBS?
Largest FBS shutout.
Yeah. And then immediately after, Tennessee was up 65 at half against Kent State, offered them a nonstop clock. They said, hey, we don't really have to keep this going. Kent State said, no, we're going to lose with respect.
I like that.
Still, somehow not the most points scored this weekend. They won 71-0. South Alabama beat Northwest State 87-10. 87 points by the Jags.
Sad.
That is awesome.
Awesome. It's awful.
No, that's rock and roll.
Come on.
It's South Alabama. You got to let them do it. That is so cool.
That's the reason why I prefer the NFL over college football, is because in college football, particularly the good teams, everybody's got those 3 or 4 games built in that are just laughing stock games.
In pro football, it's only the Panthers and the Cowboys that happens to.
Correct.
Well, you never know about the NFL. You do know in college football.
Did you see Northern Illinois beat Notre Dame 2 weeks ago? You get those crazy, awesome moments where, like, New Mexico State comes into Auburn and beats Auburn in Jordan-Hare.
Yeah.
Those victories are fun. And, yeah,
And
there are
always-
blowouts. Who cares, though? Everybody's drunk. Everybody's having a good time. Your NFL was boring this weekend. My college football kicked ass.
Okay.
Sonny Lubick was also friends and a classmate of Evel Knievel.
Wow.
Watch out for the Huskies,
great
up to
fact.
23 this week.
Amazing.
Should be noted that Miami has scheduled those teams in the past, and it lost to like Middle Tennessee State.
Yes.
FIU was touch and go against Central Michigan. So this was, if you are trying to get to Charlotte for an ACC championship, you need to look dominant, and that didn't appear to me like it was a fluke. They were dominating. Ball State didn't even make a single trip to the red zone, and you had your depth in there early on in the third quarter, and the depth looked really encouraging and didn't let up. So I thought that was a very encouraging performance for Miami.
The Northern Illinois victory looks all the more impressive, and the ranking looks all the more impressive when you see Notre Dame go into Purdue and win that way, no matter how bad Purdue is.
Purdue is probably the worst team in the FBS right now, like with Florida
With
State.
Florida State?
They're up there. Purdue is very, very, very bad. But that was an incredibly impressive win in the sense of, like, they were able to bounce back. Riley Leonard looked really, really good.
They let him run.
Yeah, I don't want to take that away from Notre Dame, but, like, we're underestimating how bad Purdue is. But these games do matter in a sense. Like, if you look at Oregon, who did bounce back this weekend, looked like they kind of figured it out against Oregon State. They were close against Idaho, and they were close against Boise State, and they dropped in the polls. And the polls sort of matter at this point because it's kind of going to be what the college football rankings are based off of. So, like, even though you know, okay, we're going to beat the crap out of Ball State, you still have to do it. Like, you have to beat the crap out of them. And it's a nice little warm-up. So it just makes you want the better games more. So now we've got a little taste, okay? Sure, we have a 61-0 Ball State win. You got Cal in 2 weeks. Now you're getting ready. And Cal, wow, great fan base. I am in love with Cal Twitter. They are awesome. They're playing Florida State this weekend. And they've been doing is tweeting, we're going to Woke Campbell Stadium.
Northern Illinois was paid $1.4 million or something like that to go into Notre Dame by Notre Dame. And what I was beginning to mention about Lane Kiffin, Stugotz, did you see what happened with Wake Forest and Mississippi as soon as that game was over?
I did not. The Deeks, huh?
One of my favorite moments from the college football weekend, Ole Miss came into Winston-Salem, beat the literal crap out of Wake Forest, 40-6.
There was no literal crap on the field.
Wake Forest, probably. So they had a home-and-home scheduled. This game went so badly for Wake Forest that they paid $1 million to opt out of their game at Ole Miss next year. And Lane Kiffin came out in the post-game presser and was like, I just want to tell my guys, like, you're so good, teams are paying $1 million to not play you. And you know what? I thought it was a weak move at first, but I kind of respect Wake Forest being like, look, we are not doing that again. It is not worth it. Give us NCA&T.
Mike, what is the line on UCF Florida? Because I think I can make a credible argument that UCF is the second best team in the state based on just how bad Florida and Florida State have looked.
Yeah, I think USF can lay claim. This will be an interesting weekend for that, but there is an advanced line. Those Florida and UCF play in 2 weeks, and Florida is presently favored by 2.5 points. Now, again, lines are designed to get 50-50 action, so they're just trying to entice people to bet at that point. And as we mentioned, Florida State, despite looking terrible all season long, is still favored against an undefeated Cal team.
Please don't encourage UCF's fan base. Like, they're the worst.
Yeah.
I'm going to say this. Florida State and Florida are both going to turn around their seasons. Neither is as bad as they've looked so far. They're both going to compete to sneak into a bad bowl game. They're both going to vie for that six-win category. I would not write off either
Mike
team.
Ryan is making faces at you. Lucy's making faces
And I'm not
at
surprised.
It's a good time to say it, though.
Have
Today
you
is a good time to
watched
say
any
it.
Florida State?
Yes,
They're
I have.
they're bad at everything.
Where are the wins?
Okay.
They're like just real like across the board. Like people are like, "Oh, it's DJ." No, it's everything.
Okay,
They're
it's
terrible.
an indictment of the poll system. Number 10 in the country. Who votes in those polls, and why didn't they see this coming?
I'm very against preseason polls. I agree with you. I don't think there should be any rankings until week 5.
The portal, the belief was, as one would be prone to do, they went 13-0. Surely they won't fall a lot.
Right.
Yeah, but things change, man. I mean,
Thank you, Stugotz.
You got it.
Excellent analysis by you as punctuation on the segment.
Stugotz, I'm not going to lie, my golf game, I've really been struggling with my irons recently.
right. I struggle with that word.
Irons.
I can't say it.
Go ahead.
You're going to say it for me.
Try, let me hear it.
Iron.
Yeah,
I
you
can't
can't.
say it. I'm telling you, I can't say it.
My iron game is always a work in progress.
Yeah, but you're a good golfer, man. You're telling me you got better?
I'm telling you, PXG is a game changer. Whether you're like me and you shoot low 80s, whether you're like Stugotz and you got a little bit of a higher score, you need to go to a PXG location, get yourself fitted, because these irons, I swear I've knocked 7 to 8 strokes off my game.
So I've been playing golf for a long time. I've never had a fitting done. I went to the PXG fitting. I went out to Weston Hills Country Club. Steve, the fitter, was out there. It took less than an hour. I brought out my old clubs. He said, "What are you doing with these things?"
Yeah.
He threw them in the garbage, and he started making my new clubs. And what I realized, Chris, and Steve is fantastic, and if I ever get another fitting, the only place I'm going to is PXG. What he told me was, your grips are too thin, the clubs are too long, gave me shorter clubs, gave me thicker grips, and I have taken 5 to 6 strokes off of my score.
PXG has multiple fitting locations in your area. You look up a location, you bring your clubs, you get fitted. Weeks later, you have brand new clubs, the best irons you've ever hit. The new Black Ops irons are game improvement missile launchers. They feature X-Core 2 technology. It's just a game changer.
They're incredibly easy to hit. They're incredibly affordable as well. They are only $149.99 a stick. How about that?
It's a great price.
Take the PXG
Irons
challenge. It's a ton of fun. And if PXG's new Black Ops
irons
don't outperform your current
irons
by delivering either more distance or tighter dispersion during your fitting, you'll get a $100 MasterCard rewards card. Hurry. This offer ends October 7th. Book your fitting today at pxg.com. That's pxg.com. I can't say the word irons. See? That's why Chris said it.
Dan Le Batard.
All of us who were watching college football elevated everything the weekend was because we missed football in general so very much.
You didn't watch the ending of UTEP Jacksonville State. It was awesome.
A doozy.
Boom.
Mm-hmm.
Stugotz.
It's such a lane for you. Just everything in college football is awesome. Any single thing that happens, she gets deliriously happy about.
Don't you miss viewing sports through that prism, though? Like, I'm envious of Lucy. Like, I wish that I could still be happy.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz.
Colorado wins some games, but blame the offensive line again. From blown leads to some bad beats, it's always blamed on everyone but him. Joe running, throwing black and gold like no one can. But he'll come and go and hit the road as soon as he has the chance. We're always talking about Deion, 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 Deion.
Can the group help me with a bet with Greg Cote? I want to bet him that the University of Florida will not be making any kind of bowl game.
I know what he can do. He can honor the one Florida State fan that said he would eat dog shit if Florida State lost to Boston College.
Yeah.
Then Florida State did lose to Boston College. He said, I'm not eating the dog shit, and deleted all his accounts.
Wow.
And that's why Florida State keeps losing. He needs to eat the dog shit.
He should eat the dog shit.
Yep.
No doubt.
Right.
He should literally eat the dog shit.
Well, Lucy's apparently volunteering you as tribute.
How do you feel about those steaks, Greg?
Well, first of all, I clearly said, and you can replay the tape, as we say in the business, I clearly said that either Florida or Florida State is going to come back and have a decent season, go on a run. But since then, I've discovered or been reminded that Florida Gators have the toughest schedule, perhaps in the history of mankind. And so Florida State is the team I'm saddling up as the comeback team.
Your son also whispered in my ear, doing some excellent executive producing, push him on how much Florida State football he's watched this year when you claim to have some Florida State football expertise.
Right.
Your son playing defense against you, wanting to expose you nationally and on live television, was saying, go ahead and push him on, ask him some Florida State questions and see how that goes for him.
First of all,
I'm not going to take a quiz.
I'm not going to take a quiz. I have watched a bit of the Seminoles. I don't need to watch all those dreadful games.
Right, who wants to
have
watch
an
that?
opinion.
Exactly.
Look, they're not as bad. They weren't as good as 13-0. They're not as bad as 0-3.
They were as good as 13-0.
They're definitely as bad as 0-3.
Okay.
They're terrible
So both
across
things are
the
wrong.
board.
Right.
They're really bad.
I haven't committed the Knowles schedule to memory. If I had it in front of me, I would recite exactly.
You can look it up.
Okay.
I have it in front of me right now. They're favored against Cal.
Wins and
Are we doing win-loss?
Oh, I love
yeah,
this.
Sports radio.
That's
to you by
a
someone.
tough. That's a tough game.
Can I stop? Can I just stop before we do wins and losses? I know Billy wants to do wins and losses, but I don't want to just skip past what happened, which I believe to be a historic thing in the history of Greg Cote shows, which is Billy is Greg Cote's greatest ally in the world. For Billy to say, so both things are wrong in a day when Greg Cote is here was legitimately shocking to me.
Well, no, I'm not. That's not my opinion. Those opinions aren't coming from me. He just made a statement. He made two statements as one.
They were both
and
wrong.
You guys disputed each one of those statements as wrong. And
Right.
I'll make a bet about Florida State. I'm looking at their schedule. They got 5 wins in the bank.
What? Oh,
Wow.
okay.
Well,
the bank.
then
You haven't
watched. They're not bowl eligible then.
Okay.
Actually, you do not need 6 wins. There are some bowl games that will take you if you're 5 and 7.
Well, isn't
there's
that
so many bowl games?
Isn't that if there's not enough people that are
Yeah,
eligible?
if there's not enough teams that are eligible, and then if you're 5 and 7, it's based off of like academic standards is how you get in first.
There you go.
I don't know if Florida State's a good.
Everyone in my high school.
Greg, I
FSU.
support you because
Except
these
me.
bad bowl games, they want a big brand.
Sure
and like,
they
how
do.
often do they get Florida State or
But
Florida?
wait, where are the
and
victories?
they want a traveling fan base.
I've got a
Oh,
Charleston Southern.
They're in the bank.
They've got a Charleston Southern victory in the bank, but Notre Dame.
We don't know that necessarily because we thought they had a Memphis victory.
No, Mike didn't. Mike put the town on alert. Did you?
Put the town on alert.
Mike told you Memphis. Mike bet the money line plus 9.5
Saying
because
for
Mike
months
put
they
the
were-
town on alert.
Yeah, I've been saying for months that they were going to lose that Memphis game. The ATM does not stop this weekend against Tallahassee. So SMU, one of the few teams that can actually lay claim to say we've had a more disastrous season than FSU. So maybe there's a win there. They are hosting Florida. They have Charleston Southern, as you mentioned. Outside of that, UNC's got quarterback issues. It's going to be hard, Greg.
They have Duke. I mean,
they've
Duke
lost
is 3-0.
winnable games.
I don't want to hear about
Stugotz.
it. I mean, Duke has beaten
Duke
nobody.
has been good for a couple of years.
It's also
now.
I don't want to hear about it. Yeah.
You got FSU traveling to. This is a team that is 0-3 and hasn't played a true road game yet. All right. And by the way, I saw the crowd over there. Seemed like plenty of good tickets available. This is a fan base that had a lot of opinions on attendance. And even though a third of the stadium is under construction, you would think that would mean for a packed house, but it isn't. Hey, maybe there's some really good deals on the secondary ticket market out there in Tallahassee. And if you're curious on finding the best deals out there, why don't you do what I want you to do? And that's download the Game Time app. Create an account and use code Dan for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Download Game Time today. What time is it?
It's game time.
I have what I believe to be in front of me the single greatest college football information / stat from the weekend. I ask for you guys to knock this off of the top of the mountain. Arch Manning was timed at a top speed of 20.7 miles per hour. I know that Stugotz and Greg Cote have been loudly adamant about not liking this kind of extra information, but they don't want new information. They don't want everyone timed on everything. But I was stunned to see that time of 20.7 miles per hour is faster than the fastest time that Tyreek Hill has recorded on a football field this season, 20.3 miles per hour. You say no, I'm telling you it's statistically so, and I ask you to come up with a better piece of information. This is Cooper Manning's son. Eli and Peyton are his uncles. So this is not the prodigy from the quarterback chromosome. This is quarterback chromosome adjacent.
Yes.
Cooper, but I was stunned that Arch Manning runs that fast. I was stunned to see the Stugotz tweet of Arch Manning can scoot.
Yes.
So Arch Manning's run was 67 yards. Peyton's longest NFL run was 33 yards, and Eli's was 23. So Arch Manning's touchdown 67-yard run was longer than Eli and Peyton's longest runs combined in their entire NFL career.
You are a liar. Peyton Manning never ran for 33 yards. I demand
2001. That's what it says, according to Sports Illustrated.
I didn't see
I got to see this run.
There is no way that happened in a professional football game, and I do not remember it. And put it on the poll as well.
I have a video that I can't show because it's game footage. But
put it on the
poll. The Colts website. Are they allowed to lie?
At Batard Show, propaganda, fake news. What's more stunning, that Peyton Manning once ran for 33 yards or that Eli Manning once ran for 23 yards? At Le Batard Show. Do any of you have a bit of college football information that is more impressive than what it is? You just said, I offered that as a promise that I was going to shock you, and you still said, no way, wow, that can't be true.
Okay, this is why. Tyreek Hill has run 23.34 miles per hour.
Not this season. I said this season. Clocked on a field this season.
Yeah, I saw that graphic out too, and I was like, this is one of those... It has to be fake news. And then I found patient zero, and it was an aggregation from Dove, and I don't believe those anymore because Dove isn't even Dove. So I'm just going to go ahead and say there had to have been a point in that game on Thursday where Tyreek Hill ran faster than Arch Manning, although Arch Manning did look really fast.
He really did. I have one that's Arch Manning related, actually. He is the 8th favorite to win the Heisman Trophy this year. He's thrown 14 passes.
Hey, can you scan up to the top of that favored list?
That is amazing. He's going to win it.
Who's favored?
Cam Ward was second last time I looked.
Nah, look again.
Hey, y'all, it's Mike, and as you know, it is football season, the all-consuming football season. You live it, you breathe it, and you want to watch it as much as possible, both on your TV, but also sometimes you want to be a part of that atmosphere. But guess what? You don't have tickets. It's a sold-out event. What are you going to do? Well, I'll tell you exactly what you do. You download the Game Time app. For my money, it's the best app on that secondary ticket marketplace for a ton of reasons. But one of the reasons I want you to check it out for is this awesome new feature called Game Time Picks. It makes getting your tickets to see your favorite teams play even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. Do it yourself. Pick an upcoming game on the app. Browse through the seats. I'm telling you right now, you'll love Game Time Picks. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code Dan for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code DAN for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time.
Now's a good time to remember where the story of tequila started. In 1795, the first tequila distillery was opened by the Cuervo family. And 229 years later, Cuervo is still going strong. Family owned from the start, Same family, same land. Now's a good time to enjoy Cuervo, the tequila that invented tequila. Go to Cuervo.com to shop tequila or visit a store near you. Cuervo, now's a good time. Trademarks owned by Becle, SAB The CV. Copyright 2024. Próximo. Jersey City, New Jersey. Please drink responsibly.